War in Ukraine the 13th of April. Short news. China, Japan and South Korea has held a meeting and decided to sustain or increase their free trade. As was expected, China will have to find new markets, and the same is of course true for both Japan and South Korea. Spain has already had a delegation in China, and I would not be surprised if we see some meetings between the EU and China also. I had expected to see some new meetings and some new trade deals in the making, but maybe not so quickly. While we do not have a new trade deal as of yet, the latest meeting is sending a rather strong signal. How will this affect the USA? While the US market is the biggest market in the world, on a global scale, USA has about 13 to 15% of global trade. What we are seeing right now is somewhat close to what Brexit showed. UK voters were under the assumption that there would be no impact on trade after leaving the single market. The USA, while still the largest economy, will also see an impact on trade with ripple effects as it goes into a trade war with most other countries. The US GDP is around $25 trillion. The combined GDP of China, Japan and South Korea is around $20 trillion. We can likely expect the GDP to be declining for most countries during 2025 as long as this trade war continues. How much is impossible to say. USA will struggle in a trade war against everyone, and by alienating many allies, it looks like few countries would be willing to step up to the plate in the US trade war with China. Rather, the opposite is more likely. The situation on the ground. Weather today. Kharkiv, cloudy, chance of rain towards the night. Svatove, cloudy. Donetsk City, cloudy. Kherson City, partly cloudy, 13 degrees Celsius. The Ukrainian General Staff reported 120 combat engagements in the last 24 hours. Kursk Sumy area. We have ongoing Russian attacks into Sumy Oblast. We have confirmed Russian gains in Kursk, where they have gained ground at Guevo. The Ukrainian incursion is now split into two smaller salients that they are holding. Russian forces are attacking west into Sumy Oblast. Reports of smaller Russian forces trying to infiltrate Ukrainian positions. They are also likely probing for weaknesses in the Ukrainian defenses. In Belgorod Oblast, we have reported fighting at Demidovka. We can expect heavy fighting. Russian gains are probable over the coming week. North of Kharkiv, limited fighting reported. Ukrainian sources state Russia is reconstituting units in this area. The situation remains stable. Kupiansk-Svatove area. Ongoing Russian attacks. The Ukrainian General Staff reported only 2 attacks, but other sources would indicate significantly more combat engagements in this sector. I have no confirmed changes. Ukrainian sources continue to report that Russian forces have not used armored vehicles for some time in their attacks in this sector, possibly indicating a lack of such vehicles. It can also be down to effective use of drones by Ukrainian forces. Expect ongoing fighting. Over the coming week, minor to limited Russian gains are possible. Crimea area. 18 Russian attacks reported. We have Russian gains at Yampolivka. A minor Ukrainian salient is forming, anchored in the north by Tarny. Russian attacks, however, continue to be focused on the western side of the Sherebets River. We can expect attacks at this level over the coming week. Russian gains are probable over the coming week. Seversk salient, Bakhmut, Toretsk. At the Seversk salient, we had limited Russian attacks, no confirmed gains. The situation is stable. At Chasiv Yar, we had 11 Russian attacks, which is a significant increase since yesterday. I have no confirmed Russian gains. We have a reported Russian mechanized attack southeast of Chasiv Yar, reported to have been repulsed. Russian attacks are reported against Tupochki, which is an important position in this sector. At Toretsk, we had 16 Russian attacks reported. We also have a Ukrainian counterattack in the area, probably a spoiling attack. We have previously had Russian gains just southeast of Dashne. We have since yesterday confirmed Russian gains closer to Valetynivka, with a smaller Ukrainian salient forming west of that position. Russian pressure continues to give some gains on the flank of Toretsk. Russian gains over the coming week are probable. It is more likely with minor gains, but bigger gains cannot be excluded. It remains unlikely that Russian gains will affect the overall situation if we look over the coming week. Donetsk city area, Pokrovsk sector, 31 Russian attacks reported. That is a significant decrease in Russian attacks. The poor weather conditions yesterday should have given more Russian attacks if they consistently were using poor weather to launch attacks, as we have had reported. We have possibly limited Russian gains at Udashne, no other significant changes reported. We have ongoing fighting, and that is expected to continue over the coming weeks. West of Donetsk city, we have a likely minor Russian gain at Kostiantynopil. The Ukrainian tactical position is somewhat problematic in that area. We have a reported Ukrainian counterattack, likely a spoiling attack, but I have no additional information regarding that. The overall situation has not changed since yesterday. Russian attacks continue in the Roslyv and Odradane area. I expect ongoing Russian attacks against those two positions over the coming week. Vremivka area. Russian attacks continue between the rivers Mokryali and Vorona. Based on reported Russian attacks since yesterday, they have been focused in the general Shevchenko area. It looks like Russian attacks are switching somewhat between different areas in this sector, probably probing for weaknesses. We can expect ongoing Russian attacks over the coming week. Kamyansk area. Russian attacks continue in the Kamyansk area, but I have no reported Russian attacks in the Orikhiv area. No confirmed changes. General conclusions. The biggest changes have been made in the Kursk area, where Russian forces have mostly eliminated the Ukrainian incursion. Ukraine continues to hold two smaller salients inside Kursk. Except for that, no significant changes since yesterday. European nations continue to announce new aid packages for Ukraine. Denmark has announced a multi-year package worth over $1 billion, aimed at providing air defense and artillery ammunition. Norway announced $100 million in support of the UK drone initiative. Norway will also allocate around $1 billion to train and equip a Ukrainian brigade together with the Baltic countries. Ukrainian sources continue to warn for a possible Russian spring offensive. Considering the increase in Russian forces after their latest raise in sign-up bonuses, that is not unlikely. Russia is, however, running down on Soviet legacy equipment to refurbish, which probably will be visible towards the second half of this year, if fighting continues at this level. But I will cover that in a longer video at a later date. End of report.